It's a sad, sad day when you realize that your husband considers brushing his teeth foreplay, and you're thankful for it. Look, we used to have crazy hot in the laundry room, couldn't make it to a bed sex, but now we don't because, frankly, it's just not that urgent. Also, I'd be too tempted to throw in a quick load of towels. How much sex should you be having? Can you make it hotter? Must you? I'm Jenny Isenman. I'm a mom of two, a lifestyle expert, and a true child of the 80s. I believe in the power of blogging, Botox, bra inserts, and finding the funny in the everyday. Because if I didn't, I'd be sitting in the carpool lane crying into my grande latte. And trust me, that is not a pretty sight. Welcome to the Jenny Isenman Show. Welcome to the show, everyone. With me today to find out why I always have a headache is my dear friend and star of Bravo's The Love Broker, Lori Zaslow. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you for having me, Jenny.
You, like me, are a mom of two. Like me, you've been married 12 years.
And I have 2 dogs, and my husband counts as 3.
Right, your husband counts as 3 children alone. And that said, how is your sex life with your husband?
I feel like we have sex a couple times a week.
What is your secret to being so sexually happy?
I think it's being open. I think it's really about bringing fantasy to reality, or it's something we talk about. I express my needs. Like literally this morning, like, are you free tonight? Like it sounds crazy and it sounds almost contrived. It's not when it's going on.
Sure.
But making it a priority, because to me it's a priority.
My thing isn't very much like always say yes or the planning or that. I actually believe in the like always say no theory. I know, right? Not that I always say no.
I always say no to drugs, but not always say no to sex.
Well, I always say no if I'm not interested. That's my theory.
Okay.
See, the thing that I have is that like a lot of my friends and different people, they'll have sex when they're not necessarily in the mood, and I think it's so obvious. And then your husband kind of resents you, and you're having that like, oh my God, I wish I was watching Real Housewives kind of sex. But I think like
That's not a good mood.
Well, it's good.
TV shouldn't be on.
I feel like you should get down and dirty when you're in the mood. That way, your memory of it is always awesome.
No, I agree with the quality over quantity, if that's where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I agree with that rather than just make-up sex or guilt sex or whatever it is. Right. No, you should be into it.
This is what kills me, is reading these magazines when they give you this mom advice on sex. And it's always the same cliche advice to me. You might like it. So we're going to go because we definitely differ a little. So I want to hear what your thoughts on, and I'll tell you mine. So this is one of the big ones, is set the mood. What do you think about setting the mood?
I think there's not enough time to always set the mood, to be frank, but there are certain deal breakers. Okay. And that would be turn the TV off.
Well, whose show are you watching?
We're always watching. I don't like TV.
Well, there you go. See, if you did and it was your show,
right.
That wouldn't be necessarily a deal breaker. Oh, well, that'll bring me to another point that I'm going to get to later.
So what are your thoughts on setting the mood?
My thoughts on setting the mood is if, like, I'm in a t-shirt that doesn't have any holes in it and there's, like, no lingering gas odor in the room, we're good to go. So this is the time in the show when I like to go back and talk to my 80s self who didn't know as much about this topic in a segment I call What Were We Thinking? We didn't know much about sex in the 80s. Those grainy sex ed videos had me convinced that you could get pregnant from dry humping. For years, I did nothing more than make out for fear that sperm, being so powerful and microscopic, could travel through a guy's Z Cavariccis and past my acid-washed Guess jeans straight into my cervix. To this day, I'm not positive that couldn't happen. I'm only sure I won't be dry humping a guy wearing Z Cavariccis. Unless it was Ricky Schroeder. I would have dry humped him. I would have. And Scott Baio, Rob Lowe, and Judd Nelson. I know, I'm starting to sound really slutty, right? Okay, what were we thinking? Here's my next one. Starting your day with a bang. What do you think about that tip? Start your day with a bang.
I think for me, I'm the most relaxed in the morning. Sometimes it's definitely hard because children, dogs, etc. But I think it's the best way to start the day.
Really?
What about you?
The only thing I bang in the morning is the snooze button. But you know what? I need my sleep. And that's why the tip bothers me so much.
You always needed sleep, though.
Always, right?
So I guess you never like to bang in the morning. That's nothing to do with age.
Well, I think way back when, maybe I was banging in the morning because I hadn't gone to sleep from the night before.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Right? So here's a classic, satisfy your guy, which I think we all know is code for satisfy your guy, you know, little something, something. What do you think about that?
I think whatever you do in the beginning of your relationship, I mean, you shouldn't have false advertising. Like the person who wears the padded bra, after a while, he gets it, right?
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if you're gonna always be the person who's giving oral or talking about it, like I note, since I'm a relationship expert, women are always saying this, that, the whole nine, and then they get into relationships and I always like follow up with them, like, so are you still, I get being tired. I'm all about that. I'm tired as well, right? Every day feels like a marathon. But at the end of the day, I mean, false advertising is a whole nother thing.
So you mentioned that date night is really important for your marriage. So talk to me about it.
I think it should be important for anyone in relationships. People need the mirror neurons. They need to connect alone, without the phone, without the chaos. And when you're there, where you're not sitting around talking about what this one did, what that kid did, what happened at work, just being present. Like, people do not know how to seize the moment. Carpe diem.
I want to thank you, Lori, for coming. You're amazing. It was so good having you. Oh my goodness. Amazing. And thank you guys for watching. Did this episode make you feel content with the sex you're having? Want to give more oral? Regret that you wore too many Z Cavaricis back in the day? Leave me a comment, I know, right? And be sure to subscribe to CafeMom Studios on YouTube to catch every episode of The Jenny Isenman Show. See you next time. This is a disclaimer. No husbands were harmed in the making of this episode. I want you to know that me and my husband are very happy, and I love him very much.